Well, hello, everyone. This is Angela Hooper-Menifield of Menifield and Associates, and also creator of the B.E.S.T Supervisor Academy and Symposium. And I have been what one could say in the studio all day. And as a result of that, I have actually failed to change my background. So now I am current. Um, so today is Friday, November the 13th. Literally almost half the month of November is over. And so we are here today with our HR moment from Menifield and Associates. And today I wanted to talk just a little bit about something that I think we don't always think about as it pertains to our behaviors as a supervisor. And so let's talk a little bit about discretion. Discretion is one of those words that is used, but I don't know if we often think about how we use it and what it means to be used. And so as a result of that, I want to talk about how we can exercise discretion in the workplace. And discretion could mean a lot of things. So let me first get some clarity on what it is we're talking about. So we're not talking about keeping secrets, even though there may be times that secrets need to be kept. What we're talking about is, again, knowing what to say and when to say it to our team members. And so as a supervisor, there will be times that, and I can't understand why I can't do a watch party today. This is so weird. But there will be times that we will have issues and our employees will want to know what's happening. And so let me give you an example. When you're in leadership, there will often be times that you have been, quote unquote, privied to sensitive information. There will also be times when you won't agree with leadership. And so your opinions, your attitudes, your discretion, so to speak, may be something that is different from management. And as a result of that, you may feel obligated to give your opinion. And so what my point is should you or should you not talk about what you think to your team? You know, there's something to be said about, of course, having the ability to express yourself. You know, I'm a firm believer that, everybody should have freeness of speech, right? And so when we say freeness of speech, what I mean is, we shouldn't work in places where our opinions or our words are censored. But what I am saying is everything is not for every audience. And so when you elevate into supervisory and management positions, again, there will be times you will be privy to things. Now, many of you know that one of my areas of expertise, along with the leadership development space, is also that HR space, right? So human resources. And here's what I know as between both having been a senior leader as well as having played a role in the decisions that go into, awards, bonuses, hirings, terminations, layoffs, RIFs, furloughs. Like there is often a lot of information. I even remember years ago when I worked for the government, and this was actually, I was in DC on, covering some things. And I was walking down the hall one day, and one of the peers in a sister department or division said something to me about, hey, I heard you guys are about to have a merger. And I remember thinking, you heard we're about to have a what? So me being me, I kind of act like I knew. And I just said, really? How'd you hear that? So I didn't let him know I was shocked. But for the record, I had no knowledge about a merger. And so he said, yeah, he went on to give me all the details. And I just kind of said, okay, note to self. So later on that day, when I was checking in with my boss, because I was covering for him, which is why I was in DC, my duty station was in Memphis. And so as we were on the phone, I said, well, I, want to talk to you about some things that I've been hearing. And he said, okay, what? And so I told him, and he was like shocked because he had been in meetings with other people at his level and above about the possibility. So it wasn't public information yet. So starting with the discretion dynamic as I started, number one, whomever was in the meeting had told people that didn't have a need to know. And so now these people were discussing it. And as a result, I heard about it. And so we talked about it. He gave me an update. Of course, he wanted to assure me it wasn't that he was keeping information from me, but he had been told he couldn't discuss it, right? And so, we discussed it. And again, we had the best relationship. So there was no angst. I didn't feel betrayed or anything like that. But what I did say to him was, I understand that you were asked not to discuss it, but let's just be perfectly honest. The secret's out the bag, right? So even if we give them the information as this is a possibility, I am recommending that we sit down and we talk to our leadership and talk and at least let them know that this may happen. Because I think the worst thing that could happen is they hear it in the quote unquote streets, as I say, the same way I did. And of course, that's what we did. We were preemptive. We were able to control it. And the rest of the team never knew the wiser. So the point of my story is twofold. Number one, when we have these private conversations and we tell people not to discuss it, I think we have to always entertain the possibility that somebody in the room is not going to keep their mouth shut. Now, the second piece of this is if we are going to discuss it, at what level? And so the second part of this is one of my mentees is a supervisor and also works in human resources. And the company is apparently preparing for some things. And so they wanted to test them and see how they would manage the issue. And some of them talked. They gave them some information that, should have been kept private or let them see some things. And then some of them didn't. But the learn here was, and that they were trying to get across was, if you have questions and you really want to talk about something and maybe you don't agree with it, elevate that conversation. So in other words, we often think maybe even if we don't talk to our teams about it, we can talk to our peers. Well, my concern always is you don't know how that story is going to be repeated at a later date. So if somebody tells you something and tells you not to discuss it, even if you listen to other people, I think you shouldn't discuss it. But if you must discuss it, be very clear about what it is you're discussing and discuss up when at all possible. Worst case scenario, discuss across, but definitely do not discuss with your direct reports. And again, there will be times that people will put you in compromising situations because they think you know things. And they will ask you questions and you get to decide what you say or don't say. But my advice to you is to just remember your team doesn't need to know everything. And when someone has divulged company data, information, potential decisions, the impact of those things, you have to operate with discretion. And as much as you want to talk about it, you really can't. Ideally, you may have someone in your personal life that you can vent to. We jokingly talk about pillow talk. Maybe you have a maid or a partner, but you still got to be careful there because there are times when coworkers are friends outside the office, which means our partners are friends. And I have seen that go awry as well. So the best rule of thumb is to just operate discretion. Like everything your team doesn't have to know. And there will be times that you will have to hold things and, as the saying goes, suffer in silence. I had a close friend of mine share, my business partner, Robin Butler, on Talk Leadership with Cedric that she remembered a difficult season in her HR career where she was actually the person giving the notifications for the layoffs. And there was approximately, it was either 50 or 70 people. I may not have the number correct. And as she was being lambasted and people fussing at her and angry with her because she was delivering the message, the whole time, nobody else in the company knew that she was number 70 or whatever the number was, right? So in other words, there was, 69 other people and her, but she never said a word. Like when people were upset and angry about the decisions and her, giving them the paperwork and notifying them and upset with her, she never, played the victim role and said, hey guys, I'm getting laid off too, or furloughed. She did her job with the utmost professionalism. And that's what we're talking about, right? When you're in these capacities, whether it's an HR person, you're a supervisor, we have to operate with professionalism. And I know professionalism isn't always modeled. That's okay. You are only accountable for what you do, what you say, and what you think, right? Or how you feel. Those are the things that are in your circle. You can't control if other people don't give their best. And we can turn on the TV every day and see people operating with the poorest levels of leadership, the poorest levels of professionalism, right? But how are you showing up? And so again, our videos, our comments, our thoughts are all about how do we show up as leaders, as supervisors, and as professionals. And so again, we need to always operate with a degree of professionalism. And I realize that's a very vague term, and we can talk about that at another time. Like, what are some indicators of professionalism? But what I am here to say today is everything you know, your team doesn't need to know. Everything you feel, everything you think is not for every audience. So again, freedom of speech, and I've never been one to bite my tongue. So anybody who knows me personally knows I am not suggesting that you acquiesce or hold your tongue in order to keep your job. But what I am saying is there's a time and place for everything. There's always a professional way to deal with disagreements, concerns, and issues. And so what we don't do is divulge confidences, talk about things that are not privied at various levels, and we don't disrespect and undermine leadership. I would say 99% of the time. And if it gets to that point, then I think we need to find a new job, right? Like if I cannot support, right, submit to, and, I use that word submit in the context of the true meaning of the word submit, it's submission, mission, be under it, support it. If we cannot support the mission or the way it's being carried out, then it's time for us to make a professional exit. But it's not to sabotage, it's not to degrade, it's not to divulge secrets, it's not to operate unprofessionally. So thank you very much for watching today. Again, my name is Angela Hooper-Menifield. This is the HR Moment from Menifield Associates and also the B.E.S.T Supervisor Academy and Symposium. Don't forget to grab your journal for your end of year gifts, maybe ways to start a journey at the beginning of the year. And you can get that at supervisorjournal.com. That's supervisorjournal.com/journal or supervisoracademy.com/journal. We'll put that in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend. Tomorrow, no SHRM class for me. I had one 2 weeks in a row, so I'm really excited to not have class this weekend, but got plenty of work to do. And also finishing up the BNI Global Conference, which has been totally amazing. And I'm grateful that we can watch the replay because I have missed some of the speakers. But anyway, guys, have a great weekend. Stay safe. Really stay safe. Those numbers are going up on COVID. We have to take care of ourselves. Again, social distancing. I've seen a lot of people that I admire and respect over the last week, hugging, hanging out, going to events, saying it's for quote unquote good reasons, no masks. I think it's a poor illustration of taking care, but that's my opinion. That's my opinion. This is my page, so I can give it, right? So be safe, be careful, and we'll talk to you guys on Monday. Bye.